the SM Media Podcast Network.
Hi folks, and welcome to our final episode of the SM Media Scottish Women's Football Show for 2024-2025. I'm Scott McPike. It is always a pleasure to be your host. And we've saved a wee bit of time because there has been so much happening in the women's game that we're going to spend a bit of time here talking about what's been a fantastic end to the season. To join me as always, it is a pleasure to welcome Lauren McCulloch.
Yeah, it's good to be back.
Yeah, I think we both enjoyed a wee bit of a break and we came back and it's been fairly kind of rapid what's been happening.
Yeah, it's been non-stop really. I think just the last few weeks of the season, it was just kind of bang, bang, bang. There was stuff happening all over the shop.
Where we start, Scottish Cup final? Probably the best
Yeah,
place
go
to
for it.
start. Rangers, who had a lot to prove after what we'll probably get into, I thought was a disappointing league end to the league season for them, but they came back and were pretty impressive against Glasgow City in the Scottish Cup final. It was a very interesting game. They won 3-0. Probably should have been more. A double from Kirsty Howard and a goal from Mia Macaulay. It's very difficult when you look at a side like Rangers. Like they had to beat Hibs, right? As we know, and they obviously didn't. You have to go there and put that to one side. There was a lot of pressure going into the game for a lot of Rangers fans that I spoke to, and to come out like that the way they did in the cup final, I thought was impressive.
Yeah, definitely. I think it was the most dominant we've seen them in a long time, especially against, a very talented Glasgow City side who kind of pushed Hibs all the way. I thought I thought from start to finish, Rangers looked great. They looked sharp. They looked on it. On the flip side, I thought Glasgow City were really poor. They didn't really test Rangers much at all. Um, Obviously, Mia Macaulay scoring at 18 years old, like she looks like a real talent. I thought Cushion McLean in the middle of the park was excellent as well, as she always is. She's always kind of a standout performer. Although I thought Kirsty Howard took her first goal excellently, like that was a striker's finish, if I've ever seen one. And I think Van Diemen had a little bit of a shocker after a superb season.
I was going to ask your thoughts on her in a wee minute. Just in terms as well, like the way like Mia Macaulay's goal at the start was impressive. Like, but the first half was actually a really good game. Like you would think, obviously with the result, it was fairly one-sided. Like we've kind of lauded Kozlova, and I thought she'd quite a poor game, but I thought she missed a real big chance early on. And if that had went in, very interesting to see how it had went. As you say, could that have galvanised City to hold on to a lead? Because I just thought all game City they did it looked very unlike the City we've seen this season.
Yeah, no, definitely. I don't know if it was maybe just a bit of tiredness setting in now, but obviously we have spoken a lot about Kozlova, and that was a game that she really could have shone. And I don't know if it maybe would have poked the bear a little bit if she had put that away, because I think just the way that Rangers played was kind of ruthless. They had chances to make it more. Lee Alexander was obviously beat at our far post for the first two goals as well. So yeah, it was a difficult day for City all round. I thought they probably started well, but as soon as Rangers got that first goal, it was kind of one-way traffic, and yeah, they didn't really look like losing after that.
What do you think of the red card? Because I spoke, obviously, for those who don't know, we do the rest podcast, and I was speaking to the two referees that do it, and they said like that was it's more like obviously that's one of the very few games you'll see VAR, right? So it was clear it was a red card based on the kind of information we got. But I'm more astonished the referee didn't see it straight away because to me it's as clear as you'll get.
I know. I don't know if it was maybe a wee thought in his mind that was a defender going to get back. I think that was maybe what he was looking at initially, and I think that's what VAR's there for. I think just if they do have that bit of doubt, it's there to kind of fall back on. I think that's where his head was at. But obviously, watching it on the TV, straight away it was a last man challenge. It was a red card, but I think if you're looking at it from the referee's perspective, I think he wants to give her every possible chance to stay on the park and keep it 11v11.
Yeah, and it was obviously a good advert for the women's game. As you say, Kirsty Howard obviously scoring as well. Where does it leave Rangers? Because yes, it's another cup double. They obviously, you can see it's a perfect example of the talent they have. Like Katie Wilkinson, who didn't score, but her all round game I thought was tremendous. Like her assist for for Kirsty Howard's first goal was really good. Her all round game, you can tell she's a talented player. But is it enough for Joe Potter? Because a lot of people think that's a double. You can't sneeze at two trophies, but the way the league went, there's probably a lot of Rangers fans not happy with the way the season's been.
Yeah, and you can see why. I think that they've spent a lot of money, obviously, and obviously the talent they've brought in. I thought Katie Wilson was exceptional. I thought she was kind of doing a Harry Kane role in a sense. She was dropping really deep
Yeah,
and linking the play from there. It was really good to see. Um, I do understand why Rangers fans would be frustrated. Like they go into every season now favourite to win the league, and I mean they should be just based on the resources and
yeah.
finances available to them. So yeah, I don't know where it leaves them. Obviously, they've won the two cups, but I feel like the two cups are expected for Rangers. I think the big one for them is the league title, and that's the one they've let slip. So it'll be interesting to see what happens over the summer. I think there might be a few departures, so it'll be interesting to see who they get in. But yeah, I don't really know where it leaves Joe Potter. I don't know where else she can take them really. Obviously, if you get a treble, then you're like, oh great, we're in Europe, we can go and challenge in there. But next season, I don't really know where that leaves them.
And there's a few players obviously left City as well, seven to be precise. Like a lot of kind of big players as well. Like it's all changed there as well. Like Joe Love's left, Lavera's away as well. Married Fulton, Megan Foley's obviously retired as well. Fiona Brown's retired. It could be all changed there as well.
Yeah, I think we call it a kind of player merry-go-round. I think we'll see
Yeah,
a lot of change in all the top sides. I think as they progress and as they professionalise further, I think they'll be looking further afield for their talent. Obviously we've had the likes of Glasgow City, Lisa Forrest. They've sent a couple of young players out on loan. Sophia Martin, Rachel Murchie at Montrose. It'll
yeah.
be interesting to see where they kind of fit. But I do think you'll find a lot of them will look further afield for attracting talent to kind of push them, to get back to the top where they want to be.
Yep, absolutely. Obviously, as well, Jane Ross, very close to getting an assist like Rio Hardy. Probably should have scored that, to be honest, at the end. But again, we can't obviously not the fact Jane Ross has had an excellent career, and like obviously her time at Rangers has been very, very impressive. And interesting to see what kind of happens with Jane moving forward, whether she stays in the game or like goes into coaching. I don't know what the plan is there, but she's been a tremendous servant to the game.
Yeah, definitely. She's had a wonderful career, and I think everybody wishes her all the best in whatever she decides to do. I thought when she came on, I thought Rangers kind of tried a little bit too hard to get
Yeah,
her a goal. I think there was points where they probably could have been ruthless and got their fourth, fifth, sixth, but they tried to work it to her to get that goal to go out on a high, understandably. But no, I think everybody wishes her the best in whatever she does because her career speaks for itself.
yeah, another player I wanted to mention, obviously, just like kind of changing subject. She was obviously doing a bit of punditry for I think she was doing punditry for the men's final as well. Rachel Corsley obviously has retired. Tremendous career, like her achievements as well. Like what a tremendous servant. Obviously, Glasgow City, she won 6 league titles, went to Aston Villa, I mean, did well in America. Like, she's just had a tremendous career in the game. And another kind of sad loss, just in terms of the kind of, feels like the kind of, like the era kind of Suzanne was in as well. It seems like that, the kind of, Rachel was one of the last of those players, kind of thing.
Yeah, definitely. I think we're seeing it more now. They're kind of tailing off. Jan Crichton's went into a coaching role. Joe Love's leaving Glasgow City. I mean, then you've got Kim Little, who's still winning the Champions League.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
yeah, it does seem to be a kind of end of an era of the kind of first Scotland teams that I remember really growing up. Um, but it's exciting to see what players are now coming through. It is that kind of period of transition. Rachel Corsie, again, she's played all over the place. She's had a brilliant career, and yeah, she'll be a real miss around the Scotland camp. Just in terms of experience. been there, done that. So yeah, it's a not a sad time. I mean, it's an exciting time, because I think there is that period of transition, but it might just take a little bit of getting used to not having those players around.
And you mentioned obviously Kim Little winning a Champions League with Arsenal as captain. Like, she's just continuing to show just her incredible legacy, and like only the second player to win the Champions League for Scotland. It's a tremendous achievement, and she deserves all the credit for that.
Yeah, 100%. I think she's shown no signs of slowing down, and I think even just watching the videos from the parade that Arsenal did, I think they couldn't have spoken more highly of her. Like our fellow teammates, she was kind of epitomised as the most professional they've got. But yeah, it's really good to see a Scottish woman doing so well in football at the highest level. And yeah, I think that's obviously the pinnacle, winning a Champions League. You can't really get much better than that at club level.
And we have to obviously start as well talking about the monumental achievement in the SWPL. Went to the final day as we thought it would. Rangers nil, Hibs 1. Hibs, massive achievement. Certainly not. And I think we tipped them to do well. I don't think winning the league was certainly on our radar, but it shows you just the tremendous job that Grant Scott's done. And it's a tremendous squad. And watching that game, it was a weird game. Like I there was points where you felt are Hibs too nervous here, or Rangers like just biding their time because they've got the kind of probably the better quality. But fair play to Hibs, they kept it going, and Lindsay Taylor, brilliant assist from Kathleen McGovern. Hibs won 1-0 and they're champions and they fully deserve it.
Yeah, I mean, first title in 18 years, like
Yeah,
you can't complain,
tremendous.
especially with how the kind of strength of the league now. It's a brilliant achievement. Um, yeah, Lindsay Taylor scoring the winner was excellent as well. I think Kathleen McGovern's been a revelation this season for Hibs. I think over the piece that they've deserved it. I think they've been the most consistent.
Yeah.
Whenever teams have kind of dropped points, they have capitalised on it, which maybe Rangers and City have failed to do at times. And they've just managed to keep their noses in front week by week, and it's eventually paid off.
And like people were comparing it to obviously when Leicester won the Premier League, and it's not far off that because nobody thought like Hibs were like it was always the three Glasgow clubs, nobody can split them, and if it is anybody, it's going to take them a long, long time. And the fascinating thing as well is a lot of the Hibs players have either been there a while or have come from the big three. Like,
Yeah,
and it shows you just like how incredible the kind of job that Grant's done. And it's difficult because obviously like the first thought is do they do that? Is that team going to remain intact? I know there's a couple of players obviously leaving. I think keeping Rachel Boyle's a massive boost for them as well. Shannon Leishman will be leaving, but it's not unsurprising. Like the more and more the season went, because as you say, they were the one side that were consistent and they were winning big games at big times. Like you thought, is this the week that Hibs fall apart? And they didn't.
yeah. No, they do deserve it. I think everybody has seen that over the course of the season. I think initially when Grant Scott was brought back in, I think people maybe questioned it a little bit. Is it maybe just taking a step back rather than a step forward, especially as they're moving to that more professional environment? But it obviously paid off in dividends. Like they won the league kind of first time of asking. I don't think anybody thought that anyone was going to break the big three anytime soon. But Hibs have done it a lot sooner than anyone expected, and it's all credit to them. They've worked for it. And one thing I like about Hibs is they have brought players from part-time club as well. Lindsay Taylor was at Partick Thistle not that long ago. They obviously brought Callie Gibb on a loan, which I assume will become permanent.
Yeah.
Just in the winter there. So they're bringing players from there. Obviously, as you were speaking about, people that have been there a long time. Your Ellis Notley's, John Murray's still kind of around the dressing room. So yes, it's a good mix they've got, and I'm really excited to see how that kind of progresses over the next couple of seasons.
And like as well, the way how cagey the game was, like as much as Hibs were impressive and thoroughly deserved to win, I thought Rangers were really disappointing. I think it was perfectly summarised at the end where Laura Rafferty, like you can argue, did she just? I don't think she had the mindset of like I just want off this part, but it was just one of those frustrating days where nothing went right. But as we said, when they've won a double, it's not enough. Like That's not good enough either, though, when you're just completely throwing the dummy out at the end. Like, that's what I felt. That's what that looked like to me.
I think it was a lot of the occasion probably got to her. I think playing at Ibrox on the last day, it's a title decider. Is it going to Ibrox or is it going to Petershill? Like, I feel like there was a lot riding on that last day. And obviously when nothing goes your way, I think your emotions are heightened. And she's probably never been in a situation like that before. And just got her emotions get the better of her. And so it is a disappointing end to what should have been a disappointing day because they've been beat 1-0. But again, you, you won a double, or obviously at that point they hadn't won the double, but they were going on to win a double. It's still a successful season, but the big one, as I've said, is the league title.
Yeah.
Not winning that is a big blow.
And it obviously makes things more interesting in terms of like recruitment as well. And like we're not going into next season thinking about all the big three. Hibs and Hearts, even Hearts will throw in as well. Like, it depends how well they do in recruitment, but we've got five really good sides there, and like it all depends in the summer. Like, I'm really interested to see what happens here.
Yeah, 100%. I think as well with Partick Thistle going to a hybrid model, I think that just professionalises them even more.
Yeah,
Obviously, they just missed out on the top six this season. Brian Graham's obviously departed. They have brought in a new manager, so it'll be interesting to see how that all kind of plays out as well. But it's good to see teams maybe taking steps in the right direction to become more professional, because it will close that gap. But as you said, I don't think we're looking at a top three anymore. That is a top five, potentially a top six. And yeah, it will be interesting to see. But I think for Rangers, the struggle recruitment wise now is they've not got European football.
hmm
So that'll obviously hinder who they can attract. But it'll also boost who Hibs can attract and who Glasgow City can attract. So yeah, it'll be interesting.
Yep, absolutely. Obviously, just you mentioned Partick Thistle. I was David Elliott's obviously been announced as head coach. That's a good bit of continuity as well because obviously, like for those who don't know, David's well. Like I think it's a kids academy he's involved in. I think he's still going to be involved in that from what I heard today. But it's a big step for Partick Thistle, and like that's kind of one the announcement. It's a transformative moment in the club's evolution. They are kind of making that next, as you say, that hybrid step, and it's bringing them in, and like we know there's a lot of good players there, and they'll be able to attract more the way they're going about it.
Yeah, 100%. I think there will be a bit of a turnover at Partick Thistle. I think they've got a
I would
couple
have
of
thought
aging
so.
players now. Obviously, we've seen Claire Dock retired after
Yeah.
being a wonderful servant for
Mhm.
Partick Thistle. I think the continuity with a kind of Partick Thistle man taking over the women's side, I think is a good thing. We've seen the brilliant job that Brian Graham did.
Mhm.
I think Ross Stormouth, the assistant, I think he'll be a big loss.
Yeah, I think
Just
so
in
as well.
terms of keeping the women's side continuity, but I can see them doing really well. I think they'll make a big deal of getting young players in. I think they maybe started that process with bringing in Ellie Kane, Emma Craig, Olivia King from Queen's Park. So it'll be interesting to see about their recruitment, what happens there. But I do expect there to be quite a large turnover.
Yep, absolutely. And we'll go to the kind of other half of the table. Miraculous survival for Montrose. Like they clinched in the final day, winning 4-0 at home at Dundee United. And it's a U-turn from Craig for us because he's going to stay on. I think he was persuaded. I think that was very much the club tried to convince him, but I think it's a massive achievement to stay up, and you wouldn't be surprised. Like, obviously, next season is going to be interesting with the 10 teams, but it's really interesting to see what's going to happen there because I think they deserve a lot of credit for the way they stayed up.
Yeah, look, I mean, after their double promotion, I don't think anybody expected them to survive in SWPL one, let alone survive 2 seasons. And they've done that. They've done that brilliantly, and I think staying up pay. I think Craig Farrell's probably when he announced that he was leaving, probably didn't think that they were going to stay up. I think
Yeah,
that's obviously made him rethink his decision. And do you know what? He seems to be the man for the job because they're improving year on year. It's really good to see because the resources available to them aren't great
no,
compared to the rest of the rest of the league. So yeah, it was a brilliant achievement for Montrose. I think they're definitely a club going in the right direction, and it's really good to see. Obviously, teams up north kind of doing things right, them along with Aberdeen, becoming slightly more professional and yeah, and just kind of defying the odds in a sense, especially for Montrose.
Yep, absolutely. Obviously, going down though, Dundee United, Queens Park, and Spartans. Spartans will be gutted, but like they're a side that can bounce back up. I don't know. Like Queens Park, obviously, we've heard that the women's team aren't going to be there next season. I don't know what's going to happen with them. If like, have you heard? I haven't heard a thing about what's going to happen with their place if they don't stay on.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, I think it's kind of went quiet, so I don't even know if they will fold anymore. I don't know if maybe the women's side's kind of maybe their own entity at the club, if they've got their own kind of,
I mean, it
you know,
seems to be like they're
proposed thing.
advertising for sponsorship, so
Yeah.
hopefully they stay on. I just yeah, if it is going to be like, I know for a fact they're not going to be like involved with the kind of men's setup, so it's interesting to see what happens. But hopefully they stay on. If they don't, then it's going to be interesting to see what happens. But with Jinka Spartans, like to me, I mean, I look at like a player like Hannah Jordan in particular, who like she doesn't deserve to be playing SWPL too.
No, I think you'll see a lot of the Spartans team make a move to an SWPL one.
I would have thought
Um,
so.
side. I think they'll also be favourites to go straight back up, though. I feel like they've
Yeah.
they've got the experience, they've got the resources to do that, to bounce straight back up. What I did find interesting is the fact that there will only be one Glasgow side in SWPL two next season, which
Yeah.
is insane. So there will be a lot of travelling involved for the teams there. But yeah, I think Spartans will go into this season as favourites to bounce straight back up, um, just based on previous experience and stuff. They've been in SWPL one for a long time. So yeah, I don't think anyone will doubt that.
Yeah, and obviously we mentioned SWPL too. Hamilton clinched the title and deserved it overall. Best team in the league, I think best manager in the league. Tremendous for them. I'm not sure where they're going to play. I don't know if it's going to be Broadwood. We'll see I don't know what the story is. Bobby will probably be able to tell you better himself. But like they were the best team in the league. They were the most consistent.
100%. I think a bit like Hibs, isn't it? They deserved it over the piece. They kind of beat everybody in front of them. They had a little bit of a wobble, kind
Yeah.
of the last 2 weeks of the season, but you can't. They done the hard work at the start of the season. They did extremely well, and they deserve their place in SWPL one.
Yep, absolutely. And congratulations to Bobby and all his team. And they are obviously going to be happy to be back in SWPL where they will hope to do themselves justice. I think that league next season is going to be really good because Kilmarnock, Boroughmuir, Gartcairn all showed glimpses this last season and they can go again. Livingston bringing in Craig Joyce, I think is a massive statement from them. And St Johnson plus the two teams coming up that we'll touch on. Like there's really good sides in that league and I think we're in for a really interesting division.
Yeah, definitely. I think, this season we've seen there was probably a gap between the top three. Then there was kind of your middle of the road teams, and then there was your two at the bottom. I think this year, I think it will really tighten up. In terms of, you can't really call it. Obviously, Spartans and the resources available to Dundee United, they'll be really strong coming down, along with Queens Park. But again, you've then got your Kilmarnocks, your Boroughmuirs. I do agree with you. I think Hugh Joyce is a great appointment for Livingston as well. Won the league with Queens Park, won the league with Glasgow Women. He knows what it takes.
Mhm.
So I think it will be a really exciting league next season, and it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out.
Yep, absolutely. And obviously, as well, we mentioned A United obviously went down automatically. Rossvale went down in a playoff with Stirling Uni. But we mentioned, like, again, two sides that have come up. You wouldn't be surprised, obviously, if they go down. Like, I think Claire Docherty retiring from here, I think, is a massive, like, I think they'll massively need to kind of rebuild a wee bit. Rossvale, like they haven't been a side that have been kind of doing very much this season. Hopefully they get it going again and kind of go under that transition. But they're two sides that I'm kind of interested to see when they go down to the championship what they're like.
Yeah, definitely. I think that obviously it all got confirmed who was going to be in the championship next season, and it looks like a really exciting league,
Yeah, it
as
really
it
does.
always does. But
Yeah,
I think now with Armadale and Bonnyrigg coming up, Rossvale and Ayr coming down, I think it really, really tightens the whole league up. Yeah, I think Ayr United, I think, will be a wee bit of a rebuild job. I think it will be. They've kind of had similar players for years now, so it's obviously that period of transition for them. Rossvale obviously have got Barry in now, so it's his first full season, so it'll be
yeah,
interesting to see how he gets on and what kind of players he recruits. Um, so it'll be interesting to see how they do get on, but yeah, I'm excited for the championship next year. I think it will be a very tight league as it always as we always seem to say it is, but I think this year more than next it'll be even tighter.
And like East Fife and Stirling Uni coming up as well. Like again, like East Fife ran away with the league and Stirling Uni going up in the playoff. Like both sides going back into the SWPL too. They're two sides that can really go. Like East Fife, we know the talent they've got. Like they are way better than they were when they went down. So they could really make that league interesting. Stirling Uni, again, it probably, as you'll know, it all depends on who they've got because we don't know until like August.
Yeah, 100%. I think they did put up a post before the playoff, and five players are departing.
Mhm.
One of them scored in the playoff. The other has been one of the others in the playoff was was really good, and she's kind of controlled the midfield of Rachel Hollywood all season.
Yeah.
So Caitlin Cook and Rachel Hollywood will be two massive losses for them, but you don't know who's going to come in as well. So it'll be interesting to see if they can replace them. But yeah, they could be a completely new team next season. You don't know. It's a very different situation I think everyone else finds themselves in. But I agree with you with East Fife. I think they've got more than enough to go and compete.
Yeah, uni sides are obviously it's very interesting to see what they do, but the championship I think is going to be sensational next season. Two very good sides going up. Bonnyrigg and Armadale. Obviously, Bonnyrigg won automatically. Armadale won in the playoffs, beating Giffnock. I think that not Giffnock, sorry. Who did
Well,
West Dyke? Very impressive. Two sides coming straight up as well. Like Bonnyrigg coming up at the second time, Armadale in their first season, and they're two sides that you feel can really kick on again.
yeah, 100%. I think we said it would be disappointing if they both didn't make it
Yeah.
because I think over the season they both deserved to go up. You know, they were neck and neck the whole way. Bonnyrigg obviously just edged the league title, but I was fully expecting Armadale to go and win that playoff. No disrespect to Westdyke, who you know they rode them very very close, and
Mhm.
I think it will definitely make the league. They'll both be able to go and challenge in the top half of the league, and I think with the players that Bonnyrigg have already announced that they've retained, um, yeah, there's no reason why they both can't go and compete because they both play really good football.
And you've got the likes of like Glasgow Women, Renfrew, Falkirk, Inverness, all there, Forfar and Dryborough as well. That there's some really good sides, and Bonnyrigg and Armadale coming into that's really good. But I think the League Two could be quite good as well next season because like Inverurie and Dunipace, St Mirren, Queen of the South all gave a good account of themselves, and then you've got three teams coming up. You've got
Yeah,
Elgin, Cambusdown, who I think is a massive achievement for them to come up as well. England Rothes Strollers, so you've got three good playoff sides in as well, and that's the kind of good thing with obviously the way the leagues are going is that you've got these exciting sides all coming in, and we don't know a lot about them, so it is just a case of how are they going to come up, and we've seen obviously with like Pace, Armadale, like Queen of South, they all came up and they all gave a really good account of themselves. So it's
yeah,
going to follow on.
no, 100%. I think it was either earlier this season or the season before. Glenrothes only got beat 2-1 off Kirkcairn, in the Scottish Cup.
Yeah.
Um, Cambusdown they've kind of evolved from Air United Development, so
Mhm.
they won the league last year, couldn't get promoted. They've then just went and won it again
Yeah.
under Cambusdown, won the playoff. I think they're a really exciting team. I think that they could definitely go and compete up the top end of that table in League One, based on what I've seen. Elgin are kind of a new entity. I don't really know what to expect from them. But yeah, it makes the leagues more exciting, with seeing new teams come up. It just keeps things interesting.
It really does, yeah. And like hopefully we're here at the start of next season and we're talking about some four really interesting leagues. We've got some Scotland action over that time. Has been a great start and
Wow.
it's not great and like I don't think anything sums up the fact that they were even the plane I don't think really wanted to go either. Like, is that bad? Did you see that the plane? I think there was an engine failure or something
Oh,
like that.
really? I did.
I think they landed last night. Again, it's not great when you're going to play a team like Holland, but it's just one of those kind of points at the moment. Just things aren't going great. Like they're relegated for the Nations League. I feel a bit for the manager. Obviously, it's really early days, and I wouldn't be judging her so far, but. I watched the game the other night and wasn't really impressed. And I know we're recording this just before the second game, but it's not a great campaign for, like, obviously, as we're recording this, 5 defeats to 5 games. It's not good enough. It
No,
really isn't.
I think obviously the new manager coming in, I don't know how much she probably would have had as a say in the squad.
Nah,
This time
probably
round, I
not.
don't think she would have seen enough because looking at the squad, there wasn't that many new introductions other than you know kind of Catherine McGovern. Um, I watched the game the other night. It was a strange lineup. I,
I really like Freya Gregory, but that came out of the blue. Like,
yeah, 100%. I think it was. I don't know if it was the game to try that,
yeah,
try all that, but you know, I think obviously we'll see what happens tonight. I think there'll be a shake up in the starting 11. If I just look even further down, you know, you've got the under 23s, they're doing pretty well. You've got some real talent in that squad. You know, Alicia Forrest had 2 assists yesterday. You know, Maria McEnany's scoring goals for fun. Bailey Hutchison, I don't know if you've seen her goal.
yeah.
Yesterday was superb. You know, there is some real talent coming through, and I think there's a wee bit of a revamp needed, and maybe looking at youth is probably the way to go. Keep your kind of core experienced players, but don't kind of fill up your other places with more experience. You give youth a chance because they're the ones that are going to be playing at the major tournaments when you get there. So it'll be interesting to see what happens, obviously, over the summer, and we do need to give her a little bit of time. I feel like it is a bit early to judge yet.
Yeah, and like as well, like it's probably a good thing that kind of World Cup qualifying will be starting shortly. It just like a wee kind of clean break for a while, and we see what happens. But I'm gonna ask you a wee kind of shout just off the cuff. Who's going to win Euro 2025?
Oh. Um, I think Spain will do it.
Yeah, that's who I thought as
I
well.
think Spain will do it. I think they'll just edge it.
What about England?
I mean they're playing Spain right now. It's on my
It's on
TV.
right now, yeah.
So um, I think they'll ride it close. I think they will ride it close. Obviously I'm not really sure how the brackets work out. To be honest, I've not looked that much into it, but they'll ride it close. But I think Spain will come out on top.
Yeah, and but again, it's more football to watch over the summer. I'm really in the kind of moment where I'm just wanting football again already. I just want back to normal. But Lauren, I cannot thank you enough for being part of the content this year. It's been an absolute pleasure, and thank you very much.
Thank you for having me. I've
It's
enjoyed it.
really good. Thank you very much. And thank you very much, everyone who's tuned in over the course of the season. We'll be back next season bigger and better, and hopefully we can keep it going. Thanks to everyone who's helped with the content this season, all the players, staff, kind of people at clubs as well, people, fans that have watched. It's been a pleasure. We will see you all soon. Thank you very much.